Want a monster fight? You got it. Want a dash of substance and some pretty decent acting with an all-star cast? There's that too. Top it off with a cute actress, Elizabeth Olsen, to balance out a giant 150-meter roaring fire-breathing lizard, and you have yourself a good reboot worth the price of admission. Enough said? Not quite. As I just mentioned, this is the season of reboots. Thankfully, film studios are thinking correctly and deciding to hire people who actually know how to give the target audience a fun film while appealing to a crowd by paying homage to the guys who pioneered the genre that still has moviegoers going to see action-heavy monster movies and paying the price of admission for them. When the first Godzilla came out, it was during a time when nuclear power was the new tool, and everyone feared the power at their disposal. It was called the nuclear terror. Hollywood capitalized on this with monster movies that were more about mutated giant animals terrorizing urban establishments. The guys who started this trend were sci-fi boys Ray Harryhausen and Ray Bradbury, telling a story about a giant lizard that had been exposed to radiation deep within an oceanic trench and had risen up to the surface to terrorize the people of New York City, in the movie The Creature from 20,000 Fathoms. This movie inspired Ishiro Honda, who made his own version of the giant lizard with his fire breather Godzilla in his 1954 monster classic Godzilla. Award for Best Supporting Actor and Actress go to Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, while the Best Actor goes not to Bryan Cranston, who plays Taylor Johnson's father, but to Godzilla for being king of the monsters and king of monster cinema for the umpteenth time. Having said all that, I'm not saying these guys are Academy worthy. But again, the acting is quite good in this, and the monsters are believable. But you will not find monsters like King Kong or the Creature from 20,000 Fathoms in this movie. Instead, you have the new version of Mothra and his mate, and you have, of course, Godzilla, and this time it's the biggest version of Godzilla we have seen yet. They are convincing monsters, and award goes to Godzilla for Best Monster, and Mothra for Best Supporting Monster. Godzilla is perfectly paced and well edited. Nothing in this movie felt boring, ridiculous, unnecessary, slow, or fast-paced. Even the way the movie sounded worked. The sound effects were fantastic, as was the lighting. The picture was very well lit, and the CGI was so good, I couldn't tell where it began and where the more practical tools stopped. 3D rarely makes a movie. But seeing Godzilla in IMAX 3D was actually an enhancement for the experience in several places, and even improved one or two scenes. I will probably feel a bit underwhelmed when I see it again in 2D, especially if I don't see it in downtown San Francisco, where in fact I saw this movie and where in fact the monster battle took place. I give Godzilla 4 out of 5 stars. I'm the kind of guy who would see this movie anyway, but you really have to be hard-pressed not to be entertained by this movie on some level, unless monster movies really are not your thing. I will say I would not recommend taking anyone below the age of 8 to go see this movie. Wait for it to come out on DVD or Blu-ray before seeing it with your cousin, niece, or nephew, younger brother, or sister, or seeing it with your kid for that matter. Sayonara!